We check the car out thoroughly, and we put a copy of that report in your glove compartment so that you know as much about that car as we do before you buy it.
Shop our entire used car inventory at fitzmall.com.
And that's the Fitz way. There's just no better way to go.
Life is a journey. Every day is a chance to do more, be more, and be better. Hi, I'm Dawn Campbell. Join me on this journey to be your best, whether you're working in a cubicle, managing a full house, or entering a new chapter of life. If you feel good, you look good, inside and out. Join me each week for Be Your Best on MetroCast Channel 10. We can do it together. Be Your Best is brought to you by Burris's Old Town Insurance, an independent agent representing Erie Insurance Group.
You're watching GAB with ALisa Profiles on MetroCast Channel 10. Thanks for coming back and joining us. As you can see, today our guest is Gene Quade.
Hi.
If you have been at any of the musical venues in Southern Maryland, you have seen this young man and his bass doing amazing things. Gene, thanks for coming in and being willing to talk about music, because that's really what we're going to talk about today.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Let's back up a little bit. Everybody knows you now because you are all over Southern Maryland with your music, but you've actually been doing this for years. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit about your story, because you decided at a really young age that you were going to pursue music, and you've done it in all kinds of different arenas in all kinds of different ways. So let's talk a little bit about who you were growing up.
Well, I started off, I was into art and very shy kid. Still shy to this day, but music seemed to be an outlet for that. So, very early, my brothers played, my father played music, so I started getting that itch to play. So I started playing guitar, and that's kind of where it started. And and looking for bands to get into and that sort of thing. And at that time, I really didn't have an idea about writing music, but that came along a little bit later.
So you started, from an early, young age. Let's talk a little bit about the artistry first before we talk completely about music, because I think people might be surprised to know you almost took a very traditional path with your artwork with the first couple of years.
Well, yeah, I definitely wanted to be an artist. So it's like in high school, I was studying really hard for art, and I actually had a picture that made it into the Corcoran Art Gallery, which was a big achievement for being in high school. And later I went ahead and started working for NOS as a graphic artist. And not that that's where I really wanted to end up. I wanted to paint pictures and, make a name for myself in the artist world. But, that was paying the bills.
Right.
So, but later that job, there was layoffs, and I tried to get back into graphic arts, and it just never seemed to happen. So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and take off and start playing some music. So I got into a top 40 band, took that avenue because it was a paycheck, and the rest was history. After that, I never kind of went back into art at all.
And just stayed with your music going forward.
I mean, I still paint every once in a while just for fun, but.
Do you? Which is more relaxing to you, music or painting, do you think?
Music has just consumed me to the point where I don't have time for it anymore. I have all the art stuff and everything, and I actually it's in my closet and paintings up against the wall. But it's very rare. I try to get back to it around Christmas time, just because people like my paintings and stuff. So I'll paint something and give it as a gift. Oh. So. That's when it happens.
maybe eventually we'll end up with the Gene Quade original on one of our sets.
You never know. It might be something that put it in the bathroom or something like that.
Well, let's talk about your music, because over the course of the decades, as you went through music, you were in some pretty big bands.
Yeah, we, like I say, just like a lot of artists, I've been right there where I could see that it was going to be, we were going to make it, so to speak. I hate using that, as a way to relate to it, but. That we had a production deal with one of the groups that I was in called Merman. That was very early in the 80s, and did a lot of touring. And like I was telling you earlier, it's like, we went out on the road. I had $500 in my pocket, and after 5 months of touring, I came back home. I had $50. So, but we had a lot of fun.
We need to talk about that $450 over the course of months. What did you eat and where did you stay, or are those stories?
I don't remember eating. I know we drank a lot, and that was just sodas, kids. I mean, I don't know. It just when you're out there like that, there was no concern about I'm saving money for something, because I was so young. It's like as long as I made enough money to get home,
right.
That was the goal. So it's like I really never thought about it, and crazy times.
Well, you are 20 years old and you're out with this band that's really kind of on the cusp of doing things. You've got, handmade costumes that you're wearing to the shows. You had hair. So let's talk about that era. What was it like to be in music and top 40 music at that time?
Well, when I started out, we were in the top 40 thing. Now, later, when I was in Merman and later Quade, that was all original music. We didn't play, we made it a goal not to play any cover songs. Very tough thing to do, because all the club owners were like, well, we can't have you in here unless you play, at least 2 sets of covers. And I was like, so then I started getting kind of wise. I said, well, we got this. So I told them, I said, yeah, we have 20 cover songs that we do. And I'd make up some list of songs from different artists, and I'd send it to them, because I knew that if we went in there and packed the place and the cash register was ringing,
they wouldn't care.
They would not care. I could have been playing bar mitzvah music and it wouldn't have made any difference.
Okay.
It was about selling tickets. So that's the way we did it. So we backdoored it that way, got in the venue, and actually, did pretty well at it. So.
Okay, I have to ask, because you brought it up. Did you ever get busted and not play cover songs and get busted? Did
one time, a club owner came up and he said, I thought you did all these songs. He goes, I didn't hear any of them tonight. So really quickly I went, oh yeah, we did. We played some of those songs. But I said, everybody was really digging the other stuff that we were playing, so we just continued on with it. And he was like, and I knew he wasn't going to, the next word, whoever spoke after that was going to lose. So he spoke and he said, well, yeah, that's good. He goes, good job. Like that. And I thought, whew, okay. Because I was going to have to go into my other one, like, have you looked at your cash register yet? That was going to be
right, we're going to have to just go bring it down to the
let's
bottom
go
line.
right to the money, because that's what he was concerned about. So.
Oh, well, you can see that you definitely have the personality, the knowledge, the style, and the savvy that's pulled you through these years. And the name of your band... The name of your band was Merman, which I think if we have any music aficionados out there, it's a great story.
Oh yeah, this is one, like say, if you're a Jimi Hendrix fan, go dig this one up. But it's on an album somewhere on one of these songs. My guitar player was a big Jimi Hendrix fan, and it was in, I think, 1983. I might have the date wrong, but 1983, a Merman I Should Turn to Be. So he heard that and he said, the name of the band's got to be Merman. And I was like, fine, I could care less.
Whatever, it's a great name.
Exactly.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to hear some more stories about being on the road. I want to hear more about your music today. What's the driving force behind what you do today? So
very cool.
We'll do that in just a moment. You're watching GAB with ALisa Profiles as we profile Gene Quade on MetroCast Channel 10.
In financing, our focus is on saving you money and getting you the best terms. And our customers will tell you that.
I had a bad experience someplace else. All she wanted me to do the minute I walked in wasn't look at cars, was fill out a credit app. So when I came here, they were all about me, not about closing a deal. I feel so compelled to tell everybody that buying a car as a single woman, it can be really fun. My name is Cheryl, and I am an ecstatic Fitzgerald customer.
You're watching GAB with ALisa Profiles on MetroCast Channel 10. Thanks for coming back. We're profiling Gene Quade. And if you know anything about the Southern Maryland music scene, you know this young man, his bass guitar, which is just amazing. But through the course of our conversations, you're actually very well-rounded in music because you've been doing it for such a long time. And at different times in your career, you've pursued slightly different variations of being in music.
Oh yeah, I mean, well again, my thing was I didn't want to get tied up into jobs sometimes that took me away from music. Mm-hmm. So I would try to, find things that at least kept me into the vein of what was going on. So I started teaching vocals first, and I was still playing, and then later I started working at Hot Licks Guitar Shop in Waldorf. So, and did that for quite some time. And so I've kind of stayed in it, and then I actually started a studio. I opened up a studio, and I want to say that was probably mid-90s, and had one in Clinton, and then I moved it to Waldorf, and it's called Night Sky Studios now.
Sure.
Ron Vinto, probably everybody who's recording music knows about Ron. Yeah. But Ron bought the studio from me, and is doing quite well, and he's still there in Waldorf in the same place, right off of Post Office Road.
And one of the things that you still teach vocal lessons.
Yeah, I started back just recently, I guess in the last 6 months, teaching again. And it's great to be doing that because, like I said, I work with so many, beginners to advanced, and it's like the kids are just amazing. So it's great to kind of help them to pursue it if they really want to do it, and for a career or a dream that they're, even if it's just to sound better.
Only my mama likes to hear me sing, and I'm not really sure that she really likes it as much as she's obligated. So have you ever met somebody that you could not teach them?
I think anyone can sing. I have people that have problems with hearing notes, and we can get into a whole other story about this stuff, but it's like, they have a little problem hearing the note, and we work on training the ear so that they become better at singing. Because my biggest thing is if you can sing in pitch, that's half the battle.
Okay. How do you get to that half of the battle?
That's again working with the piano and training your ear to know the notes, and gradually, like say, if we get past that point, then we start working on technique and how to become a better singer. So, and then breathing, of course, you always hear people talk about that is the major thing. That's 99% of if you can breathe correctly. But pitch is a big thing with me, and then of course there's a lot of other things that fall into place. But that's the tune. Okay. But you can teach somebody.
Yeah, you can at least get them in the ballpark.
I've never had a student that's totally tone deaf. If you're tone deaf, you can't hear any distinction, and that's very rare that someone can't hear a distinction between a note or a pitch.
Okay.
So usually it's a lot of times just people don't train their ear enough to know the difference between it, but we work on that, and there's ways to overcome that. So.
Okay, that's good to know. Now you've had students that you've trained go and try out for some of the big musical competition shows.
Yeah, just this year, one of my students actually, he went to several of these things. He would take fly out to wherever the competition was at, but I think he tried out for The Voice, he tried out for American Idol, and he's just, he's not giving up. So, and I thought that was pretty cool.
You know what, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I want to dig a little deeper into you now and talk about the not giving up, because that was kind of the intro to the show, because you've been doing music your whole life. Have you ever gotten to a place where you almost gave up?
Oh yeah.
Really? Okay, so...
I'm stealing this from somebody else, but this guy said, it's like, he goes, every time I've thought about giving up, I didn't. And he goes, and that's how you become successful. You just don't stop.
Okay.
It was kind of quirky, but I was like, okay, I get that, and that's exactly with me. It's like, you have times when you just feel like, wow, I have $10 in my pocket, or it could be the best of times, but, it's a struggle, and you have to kind of really come to grips sometimes and go, why am I doing this? It's like, it's just something in your blood.
Why are you doing this?
I just can't get away from it. I really, it's like, for me, it's like to do what I do, play in front of people, just that is just amazing to me,
You were talking earlier about connecting with an audience through two things.
Well, if you can make them happy and dance and just have a good time, or you can make them cry, you're doing something with your music, that's the two emotions there.
And that's what you go for.
Yeah, if it's a sad song, if you're not crying or tearing up, I'm not doing my job, and it's like, if it's a fast song or something that's got a groove to it, if you're not happy and it's not getting that crowd motivated, then obviously, again, your songs or your performance is just not happening.
Absolutely. What's your favorite, and here we go with the which child do you love best question. What's your favorite part of everything that you do? Because you're in a great band now, you've been in great bands, you write, you play, you sing, you perform, you teach. What does Gene Quade love?
I have to choose.
Yes, you do. Which is your favorite child?
Well, I guess if it's about my feelings towards this, writing music is really the biggest thing for me. I get the biggest thrill out of writing something. And if it's something and everyone likes it, and I know I've hit that mark. With songs, I don't put a lot of stuff out, but I try to put the best effort into it, and I'm a little particular about the songs, which is why there's not a lot out there on the, on iTunes or any of the Reverb Nation and different ones that you can find.
There are a couple out there, and we're going to come back to that in our next segment. But when you write a song, what's going through your mind? Are you picturing yourself singing the song? Are you picturing somebody else?
Yeah, sometimes I just really change characters. I might write for a female artist. I might write for somebody that I don't even know, but I figure if I take some emotions and stuff that I have and experiences, and I listen all the time for ideas. They're always out there, and you pitch it to somebody, and you never know. It might be something they're looking for. So sometimes it might be they're looking for an up song. Sometimes they're looking for a slow piece. I'm a lot better at writing the slower pieces than the sad stuff, but...
Aw. Well, if you had an opportunity and you wrote a song for, if let's say a big artist came to you and says, Gene, write a song for me, who would that artist be?
Wow. Wow. That's a great question.
Okay, well, I tell you what.
I mean, we'll have to get back to that.
Okay, I'm going to let you think about that because he's thinking of all these nuances of who that was.
Wow.
So we'll answer that question. So if the biggest name on the planet came to Gene Quade and said, write me a song, we'll figure out who that would be. I know I asked that question of another artist one time, and their answer almost made me fall off my chair, so I can't wait to see what your answer is going to be.
Oh.
All right, we're going to come back in just a moment as we continue to profile Gene Quade on GAB with ALisa Profiles. We'll be back in a moment. You're watching MetroCast Channel 10.
Life is a journey. Every day is a chance to do more, and be better. Hi, I'm Dawn Campbell. Join me on this journey to be your best, whether you're working in a cubicle, managing a full house, or entering a new chapter of life. If you feel good, you look good, inside and out. Join me each week for Be Your Best on MetroCast Channel 10. We can do it together. Be Your Best is brought to you by Burris's Old Town Insurance, an independent agent representing Erie Insurance Group.
Why smart people buy their used cars from Jack Fitzgerald. Reason number 1.
The most important reason to buy a car from us is our 138-point inspection report. We check the car out thoroughly, and we put a copy of that report in your glove compartment so that you know as much about that car as we do before you buy it.
Shop our entire used car inventory at fitzmall.com.
And that's the Fitz way. There's just no better way to go.
You're watching GAB with ALisa Profiles on MetroCast Channel 10 as we profile Gene Quade, and we hope you're having as much fun as we are. I tell you, there's something inside of me that just rises up into my blood when I ask someone a question and they say, I don't know. So our question on the last segment to you was, if you had a dream come true artist come up to you and ask you to write a song for them, who would it be? Well, over the course of the break, we had quite the discussion about that, and I'll give you mercy. If you had 2 or 3 artists come up to you, your dreams come true, who would it be to write for?
Of course, it's going to be current artists,
okay.
But Blake Shelton would be a great one.
Oh, I would just like to meet him. He looks like
he's fun.
Barrel of fun.
I like to go out and party with him. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He cracks me up every time I see him on TV.
Yeah, he's a maniac.
Sam Grow. I don't know if you know him or not.
Sam, that might ring a bell.
Does it ring a bell? Definitely want to write with that guy.
Yeah.
And then Jason Aldean. Probably Jason Aldean.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I want to write with them all, don't get me wrong, but that, if I had to choose a few artists right now, that would be...
And you only had to choose because some lady asked you that question on television.
Because some lady asked me that stumper question, yeah. Thanks.
All right, well, let's talk more about you because you have written a couple of things, and there are a few things out on the web that if people wanted to look for some of the stuff that you've done.
Yeah. The most current, and this, I think I've had this out for about maybe 6 months or so. It's a song called Bad for Me, and it's on Reverb Nation. So if you just punch in Gene Quade and then search it that way, it'll go right to my page that I have on it. And I don't really push a lot of stuff on there. This song, you can't download it. It's just for listen only. Mm-hmm. At some point, once I get some more songs on there, I'll probably do something where you can get them off of iTunes or something like that.
What is Bad for Me? What's it about?
Oh, you had to go there too.
That's what people like to know. They want to know the backstory.
It's got to be something about cars or women or something in the
I was thinking a girl.
Well, it's a girl. It's about girls, and but actually, I got the idea from a friend of mine, and it's just that, he was dating somebody that he just couldn't shake, and it was it was like, I don't know if you want to call it love or not, but we'll just say that the girl was a handful, and that's what he said. I know she's bad for me. But he goes, I just can't get rid of her. I can't walk away. So I went, boom, there's a song idea.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, and if you also want to have a little fun, Google Gene Quade's name and then punch the images button. There are some pictures. My goodness.
The pictures, yeah.
The pictures.
And it could have been worse. It could have. Yeah, I had.
No, they're not bad pictures. They're very centric to the eras. But you had the long hair and the eyeliner.
That's when men were wearing the hairspray and eyeliner. Yeah,
and it was okay.
It was okay. They were fine with that.
Yeah, that's great. So, like I said, Google your name. I want to talk a little bit more about kids because you're very sweet and tender and compassionate when you talk about your students because you
I gotta wipe my tear there.
I enjoy so much talking to people that love what they do, and when they love what they do and they love sharing it And you talk about your students. You really have a desire to share what you know, and you will, if somebody reaches out to you, will share, and we'll come back to that in a moment. But let's talk a little bit about your students and this passion for teaching.
Yeah, I got back into teaching because we're not touring as much right now, so I figured while I have some downtime, I'd go back and teach vocals a little bit. So I'm doing it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at Hot Licks Guitar. And the kids, it's just a lot of joy to see them, get excited about singing, and they learn a new song, and I try to work with current stuff with them so that they're excited about it, and it's just great to help them get better at what they want to do and have fun at it. So I get a big kick out of that.
Yeah, you can tell. You really can. Now, you mentioned, so I wanted to share this with our viewing audience, that if somebody's watching and they're interested in pursuing music as a career, a dream, or what have you, that they can reach out to you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, hit me up on Facebook, just like, again, Gene Quade, that you can find me. But, if you have any questions or stuff about, doing something in music, I'd be more than glad to help out. And it's like, there's so many avenues to this industry. If you get tunnel vision and I just want to be a star, it's like, that's great because you have to have that drive, but at the same time, keep looking at what's happening as you're going to that goal, because there's so many things that are available to you, in this industry. It's, there's people that work behind the scenes, there's people that are on the stage, there's production, there's TV, just like what we're doing right now. It's like there's so many avenues to be sound men, lights, and singing, writing, songwriting. So.
All right. Don't have a myopic view of what success looks like.
Yeah, don't get discouraged just because that, as you're going for that goal, like say if that doesn't work out, I mean, there's the man upstairs will kind of put you in the right direction, and sometimes you have to be open to it to see what's out there.
Not everybody's going to wake up and be Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and I don't want to make that sound discouraging, but it's because you have to have that dream and goal. But again, keep your eyes open, and there's so many things you can do to learn and meet new people out there that you never know. That one person you meet could encourage you to be a songwriter, and the next thing you know, you're writing for Blake Shelton.
Right.
There you go.
Well, and I don't think you were discouraging at all, and I think that's one of the best things about doing something for a long time and going through, is that at some point in time you wake up and you understand that you are a complete equation. You're the sum of all of your experiences, and when you were 21, this is what success looked like, but now this is what success looks like.
That was very good. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, as I've been doing this for a long time, you start to realize what's important. And it does change you, like say all the experiences and the people you meet, so
Wonderful.
Definitely true.
Well, parts of you obviously have changed and evolved, but clearly the person you were starting out in music is great, and I love that you're sharing it with the kids, and thanks for coming in and letting me torture you on television.
Thank you for inviting me. It was great.
All right, Gene Quade, look for him online, and if you're in music and you want somebody to encourage you or help you or guide you or talk to you, what have you, this is the man with the plan. You can find him on Facebook, and you can also see him at many venues around Southern Maryland. I know that you and the guys that you're playing with now, you guys do a lot of amazing things with your music. Every time I turn around, there's some benefit concert or some support this concert, and I think that speaks to who you are as human beings, and I think that just rocks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of GAB with ALisa Profiles, as we've spoken to Gene Quade. We'll see you next time. You're watching MetroCast Channel 10.